Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Ex-Steelers QB works out for Browns amid Deshaun Watson news, report. Former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback draft pick Chris Oladokun resurfaced with the Cleveland Browns on September 10 after a multi-year stint with the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad ended this summer. Former Chiefs quarterback Chris Oladokun had a great workout with Browns on Tuesday, per a league source throwing to tight ends Jeff Swaim, Tommy Sweeney, and Irv Smith Jr., KPRC2 NFL insider Aaron Wilson reported on X. Of course, this QB tryout occurred in the midst of new sexual assault and battery allegations involving Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. The full details of the lawsuit can be viewed here. As for Oladokun, the former 7th-round selection of the Steelers was released by Pittsburgh after he failed to make the 53-man roster as a rookie in 2022. The Chiefs then picked him up after a short stay on the open market. In Kansas City, it appeared Oladokun was being groomed as a QB3 and potential backup of the future, but that developmental flyer ended in 2024. After completing 13 of 17 passing attempts for 184 yards, 1 touchdown and 0 turnovers over his first 2 preseason games this summer, the dual-threat signal caller regressed during the preseason finale. In that third and final outing, Oladokun only completed 9 of 16 passing attempts for 66 yards and 0 touchdowns. He also threw 2 bad interceptions and finished the game with a passer rating of 26.6. Including Watson, the Browns currently have 3 quarterbacks on their 53-man roster. The other 2 being Jameis Winston and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. The team has not announced an Oladokun signing at this time. The Steelers don't play the AFC North rival Browns until Week 12, which falls on November 21st. Pittsburgh then plays them twice in a 3-week span, hosting Cleveland at home on December 8. Perhaps there will be more clarity regarding Watson's legal situation by then, but for now, the Browns are moving forward with their starting QB, business as usual. When asked if Watson would play in Week 2 on September 11, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski simply responded, yes, adding later that Watson remains focused on the task at hand. That's how we operate, the Cleveland HC said when asked how Stefanski will keep this from becoming a distraction. We really are concerned about the things that are right in front of us in this building. We concern ourselves with our opponent, so that's really where our focus is. Stefanski also expressed that the Browns are not overly concerned with another Watson suspension at this time. Responding, not really a consideration for me. Per NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero on September 10, the NFL doesn't plan to place Browns QB Deshaun Watson on the commissioner's exempt list in light of a new civil lawsuit stemming from a 2020 allegation, since there have been no criminal charges and the league's review has just begun. Speaking of AFC North quarterbacks. On Wednesday, September 11, Steelers starting QB Russell Wilson was limited according to beat reporter Aaron Becker of Yardbarker. He threw some but worked as the number 3 QB behind Justin Fields and Kyle Allen, Becker clarified. The current plan, according to head coach Mike Tomlin, is to start Fields against the Denver Broncos in Week 2, unless Wilson makes a full recovery before then. It will be Fields' second consecutive start to begin the 2024 campaign assuming Wilson is unable to go on Sunday. What's snubbed for AFC Defensive Player of the Week? Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker T.J. Watt delivered a stellar performance in Week 1, but his efforts were surprisingly not enough to secure the AFC Defensive Player of the Week award. Despite being the highest-graded defensive end of the week with a 95.3 rating from Pro Football Focus, PFF, the honor went to Buffalo Bills' Gregory Rousseau, a decision that has puzzled many Steelers fans. Watt's impact in the Steelers' 18-10 victory over the Atlanta Falcons was unmistakable. He registered 3 solo tackles, a fumble recovery, a sack, 2 quarterback hits, and 3 pressures, showcasing his ability to disrupt the opposing offense. His grades reflected his dominance, a 94.6 in pass rushing and 81.4 in run defense. Watt's relentless pressure was a key factor in limiting Atlanta to just 226 total yards, forcing 2 interceptions, a fumble, and holding the Falcons to only 2 of 9 on third down conversions. In comparison, Rousseau's performance for the Bills against the Arizona Cardinals included 6 solo tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and 4 pressures, earning him an 87.2 grade from PFF. While Rousseau played a significant role in Buffalo's 34-28 win, his numbers did not surpass Watt's overall contribution, making the decision to bypass Watt for the award a point of contention. Watt, known for his game-changing plays and consistent pressure on the quarterback, has established himself as one of the league's premier defensive talents, with 97.5 career sacks and 3 seasons leading the league in sacks. His performance against Atlanta reaffirmed his status as a defensive powerhouse, yet recognition went elsewhere. Looking ahead, the Steelers will need Watt to continue his disruptive play as they face the Denver Broncos in Week 2. Pittsburgh's defense will rely on his leadership and playmaking ability to build on their solid start and maintain their momentum in the AFC North race. Russell Wilson's injury worked out perfectly for Steelers, Florio says. Russell Wilson dressed as the Pittsburgh Steelers' emergency third quarterback behind Justin Fields in his black and gold debut. The team presented his starting status as a game-time decision, though many question that. Head coach Mike Tomlin didn't help dispel that notion by downplaying his availability potential for this week. That's all to the good, Mike Florio believes, for the Steelers and for their long-term future. While they signed Russell Wilson as a starter, they also traded for Justin Fields through potential starter eyes. The way injuries are dictating the season provides them with an interesting view they wouldn't have had otherwise. I think this is a perfect opportunity for the Steelers to let Fields try it out, Florio said on 93.7 The Fan yesterday. If it works, you just keep going. If it doesn't, it's not like you benched Fields, Russell Wilson's healthy. Fields started the season opener for the Steelers, producing meager statistics but a winning performance. He went 17 of 23 passing for 156 yards with no touchdowns and no interception, rushing for 57 yards on 14 attempts. To the best of my knowledge, that is the most rushing attempts by a Steelers starting quarterback in modern history. And that presents a very different dynamic from Russell Wilson. This is an opportunity for the Steelers to have it both ways, Florio said of Wilson's injury. I think they do believe Fields is the better option long-term. He's more than a decade younger. He fits what they're trying to do offensively better. They just need to work on some stuff, like, throwing the ball accurately on a consistent basis. I think it's worked out perfectly for the Steelers to ride Justin Fields as long as they can, and flip back to Russell Wilson if it's not working. Florio is right in one very obvious sense, in that Wilson's injury gives the Steelers ample opportunity to evaluate Fields. But the Steelers weren't planning on evaluating Fields in season, even if they won't object much to doing so during wins. As long as they keep winning, whether with Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, I'm not sure it matters right now. Obviously, Fields has a much longer shelf life than Wilson because he's younger, but is he better now? While the Steelers have to look to the future, they also have to consider their needs for the 2024 season. Justin Fields helped them win the opener, but the Atlanta Falcons will be one of their easier opponents. Russell Wilson will certainly bring things to the table that Fields can't do consistently. But if the Steelers find that they can win with Fields, that changes the landscape entirely. Let's say Wilson's calf injury lingers for 5 more weeks. The Steelers are 5-1 by that point and Fields is playing well, making his throws and running all over people. At that point, why would you make a change? Of course, that scenario rests upon a lot of ifs, and probably unlikely ones. The Steelers are probably not starting 5-1, and Fields probably isn't going to turn into a consistent passer. But how would Wilson look coming from 6 weeks on the bench? And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Russell Wilson? Leave your opinion in the comments.